Pakistan's Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. Minister, thank you very much for your time. It's good to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Minister, let me start with getting some clarity from you when it comes to those energy supplies potentially from Russia. When I spoke to the Prime Minister just a few months ago, he was certain that you were going to get those supplies. When could we see the first deliveries that could help your economy?
As far as our energy supplies are concerned, as you're aware, everybody after the fallout of the Ukraine war and the associated sanctions have been facing tough economic times, high inflation, high gas at the pump, and that's the same for Pakistan. As far as any conversations with Russia are concerned vis-a-vis energy supplies, we're not at a stage where we'll be getting, as far as I'm aware, any of those supplies anytime soon. We are desperate to fulfill our energy needs and are discussing with a whole host of countries, but that's not in the immediate crisis that we're in right now, with the catastrophic effect of the flooding that washed away 10% of my country's GDP at $30 billion, the blowback from the Ukraine war, but also from the COVID pandemic and the fall of Kabul has been incredibly difficult. As you mentioned, we're in conversations with the IMF. We'd actually agreed to terms with the IMF just as the flooding started. And now we find ourselves in this incredibly difficult positions where we're trying to manage our macroeconomic indicators with the IMF and provide the imminent relief to the people that is still necessary now in Pakistan and plan forward for our reconstruction and rehabilitation. Unfortunately, the cameras have gone, the attention has disappeared, but there's still floodwaters in many areas of my country. Many people are still, they can't go back home, or they can't go to school, or they can't go back to farm. And there's an incredible humanitarian climate catastrophe.
Let's talk a little bit about that attention that you're talking about globally, because when it comes to the conversations with the IMF for this next loan, the tranche of the next loans to come, they've been a little bit slow. So what's happening there? What's the delay, and when could we see agreement?
No, I won't be able to say whether there's a delay or not. I mean, the details that the finance minister can tell you. I believe that it is important for us. Obviously, we all agree. The entire unity government agrees that it's important for us to deal with international financial institutions. We want to see the fundamental reform that's required for the overall health of our economy. But at the moment, our number one priority has to be helping these people who are in extreme distress in the short, medium, and long term. That's the path forward for our economy. Because as we rebuild, as we rehabilitate, as we create the environment so that these people can get back on their feet, then they'll be able to not only contribute to my economy, not only contribute to our agriculture, but also help meet the world's food security or insecurity.
Minister,
needs.
Let's talk a little bit about those more specific conditions and help that you could get from countries. What conversations are you having with Saudi Arabia? Could we see a fresh loan deposit or perhaps investments as well?
So again, there are multiple phases to our recovery. The initial and still ongoing phases, because of the scale of the tragedy, is the relief. And for the relief phase, we've had incredible support from the international community, from our region, from the Middle East, and of course, from America. Going forward, we'll be holding a reconstruction and rehabilitation conference co-hosted by the UN Secretary General and the Prime Minister of Pakistan, which will give the opportunity for all our partners to join with us in our reconstruction and rehabilitation efforts.